I was in Germany, in a beautiful small town, Tübingen, university town in southwestern Germany. And I remember on the 11th of November, I had been out with friends and we'd been out at a pub drinking. I got back fairly late. I was staying with a family, and the son in the family was the only one up, and he was watching the news. So I asked him anything interesting on the news, and he said, yeah, they opened up the wall. And I said, well, that's interesting. Oh, good night. And he said, good night. And I think neither of us could really understand what had happened. And somehow you just assumed that in the morning this is all going to be gone and things will be back to normal, and that it can't mean what it seems like it means. And instead, the next morning I woke up and I went into the town and I saw a Trabant, East German car on the street, which was not usual in West Germany at that time. And somebody had driven overnight. And that's when it slowly started to sink in. So that was sort of a weird combination of drama and non-drama. And I think basically my memory is that feeling of this can't actually be what it seems like it is. And then it just kind of kept going and kept getting more and more dramatic. And for example, a week later, so around the 17th, I had a friend from New York who was flying over to Europe, and she had said, oh, let's go to Prague. And I said, oh, I've been to Prague, it's wonderful, but I want to go somewhere else. How about Strasbourg? And she said, no, I don't want to go there. And I said, fine, you go to Prague, I'm going to go to Strasbourg. And I went to Strasbourg, and she went to Prague, and that was the week after the 17th. So, to this day, I'm kicking myself at a sort of opportunity missed to have been, much closer to that. But otherwise, for me, in terms of Czechoslovakia, 1989 started in 1990. That's when I finally went, and then I lived there for a while. In 1990, I met my wife. It took us a couple of years to sort of figure that out, but that's pretty dramatic and sort of visceral effect on my life. And because of us being together, I ended up studying not just German literature, which I'd done before, but also Czech literature, and that's what I teach now. So in a way, it's completely shaped my life. And then, I think in a more abstract way, there's something about '89 that still, to this day, strikes me as one of the sort of most unambiguously kind of good things that I've experienced. Obviously, as things went on, sort of complications arose, but that feeling of something that just is unambiguously good on a kind of, enormous historical scale was, an experience that I still feel very strongly to this day. It seems, on the one hand, still incredibly recent. I teach 18-year-olds who were not only not even born, and they weren't even close to being born. And then, I always have to go through my thing, for those of us who remember this, it was incredibly dramatic, and I realize I sound like a sort of silly old man. So on the one hand, I feel like, it still feels very close to me. And on the other hand, it seems like ages ago. It's a completely different world. And when you think about the world now in 2019, 1989 is just from a completely different, well, it is literally from a different century, but it feels like it's from 2 centuries ago rather than just one. So yeah, that combination of it feeling close and distant at the same time.